for those of you who don't know, Canadian stuff. We had elections on Monday. Canada has gone full commie. Canada, in all of its progressive wisdom, has literally elected the globalist banker. They elected a globalist banker who has been at the helm of the sinking ship that is Canada for at least the last 5 of the 10 years of Trudeau's Liberal government. It's a devastating election for anybody who wants to see a country survive. And it's devastating now that you are all going to appreciate you left-wing Liberal idiots up in Canada. And by the way, I talk to Liberals up in Canada. I've got Liberals in my immediate friends and or family circle. Much more in my friend circle than in my family circle. But I put and or so that you don't know which. I know Liberals, people I've known my entire life. They're idiots when it comes to politics. I was having a discussion with someone yesterday, and they were lamenting how bad the situation is. And I said, well, did you vote Liberal? And they hemmed and hawed. I was like, yeah. I was like, well, what the hell? It wouldn't have made a difference anyhow. I'm in a riding that goes, well, then if it wouldn't have made a difference, why the hell did you do it? And if everybody says it wouldn't have made a difference and does it anyhow, that's how it makes a difference. But the branding, the propaganda, the brainwashing of Canadians into thinking that if you vote Liberal, it means you are liberal. That if you vote Liberal, it means you're good. That if you vote Liberal, it means you're tolerant. Because you tolerate genital mutilation on children. You tolerate perversion on children. You tolerate discussing pronouns with other people's children. Yeah, you're very tolerant, all right. Tolerant until someone disagrees with you. Then you turn into that meme triggered chick on the internet. They have been brainwashed into voting for Mark J. Carney, probably because they are so politically stupid that they don't know that Mark J. Carney is not a new face to politics. He's been involved in the Trudeau cabinet for the last 5 years. He's on the WEF web. You all know all of this. I'm not going to go into any greater detail. They've been duped, propagandized into voting for their own destruction. And I'll get to my thoughts on that in a second. Remember, this entire election was elbows up, Trump bad. And, Carney was going to stand up to Trump. Carney, after Trudeau comes out and says Canada has no core identity, it's a post-national state. After Trudeau and the Liberal government came out and demonized the Canadian flag as a symbol of far-right extremism when it was being flown with pride, peace, love, and joy during the Ottawa protest, then they come out and say, elbows up, bitches, we're Canadian. We love being Canadian. Float that Canadian flag. Talk about Canadian independence now. Talk about Canadian nationality. Now, all of a sudden, being a nationalist is not a problem for Liberals. So they got brainwashed. They got hoodwinked. And if you had any lingering doubts, oh my goodness, I'm not American, but Trump is my president. Literally because I have no choice, and spiritually because I like him. Let's hear what he has to say about his recent discussion with Mark J. Carney, 3 passport-carrying globalist WEF Davos Bilderberg whore.
President against not only against the conservatives but also against you. Yesterday, yesterday he spoke about American betrayal. Are you interested in rebuilding relations with Canada, and if so, how?
American betrayal. How dare you make us tighten up our borders? How dare you tell us to shut down the fentanyl super labs in our... Who the hell do you think you are, Mr. Trump? Elbows up. How dare you impose tariffs on us? By the way, 200, 300% tariffs we impose on chicken, poultry, milk, meat. How dare you? It's a betrayal for you to treat us like equals. We've gotten comfortable sucking at the American teat. You want to rebuild those relationships? Oh, what does Trump have to say about this? Spoiler, you got duped, Canadians.
No, well, I think we're going to have a great relationship. He called me up yesterday. He said, let's make a deal. He was running for office. They both hated Trump. And it was the one that hated Trump, I think, the least that won. I actually think the conservative hated me much more than the so-called liberal. He's a pretty liberal guy. But no, I spoke to him yesterday. Couldn't have been nicer. And I congratulated him. It was a very mixed signal because it's almost even, which makes it very complicated for the country. It's a pretty tight race. But he's a very nice gentleman. And he's going to come to the White House very shortly.
I love it. He called me. He said, let's make a deal. Some people out there are going to say he's lying. He's lying like he lied about his conversation with President Xi. Of course, thus far, Carney hasn't come out and said, I didn't call him. Carney hasn't come out and said, unless I've made a mistake, chat, you'll let me know. Carney hasn't come out and said this is a big, filthy lie. There's too much to break down in here because if you take Trump at his word, I would say that Trump is wrong. I do not believe that Pierre Poilievre hated Trump more than Carney. I believe, like liberals do, they hide their seething hatred better than conservatives. I would also suggest that they have more seething hatred in general than conservatives. So I don't believe that Pierre Poilievre actually hated Trump more than Carney. I believe Carney loathes Trump. Because Trump is everything that Carney loathes. Anti-globalist, populist. Carney is an anti-populist globalist. The liberals are the most insidious at covering up their deep, deep hatred. It comes out, under certain occasions. You dare say, don't talk to my kid about 2S LGBTQIA+, and they turn into quite hateful people. I believe that Pierre Poilievre pretended to hate Trump because he thought it would win him the election. How did that work out, Pierre? We're going to get back to that element of this a little later on. So I don't believe that Pierre actually hated Trump more than Carney. I believe that Carney hates Trump because Trump is everything that Carney hates, opposes, and will fight against.
No, well, I think we're going to have a great relationship. He called me up yesterday. He said, let's make a deal.
Some people are going to say it never happened, and now Trump is trying to turn Canada against Carney. And by the way, I haven't looked to see if it's actually happening. I guarantee you this narrative is already being played out by lefty, Carney, brainwashed, propagandized Canadian liberals on the internet. They're saying he's a liar. He's trying to get us to hate Carney by pretending that Carney was nice to him and that he likes Carney now. That's how devious this scumbag is. He might be doing it, by the way. Come out now and tell Canadians, yeah, Carney actually, he likes me. We get along very well. Congratulations, people. You just elected the guy that I'm going to be more readily able to exploit for American benefit than for Canadian benefit.
Yeah, he was running for office. They both hated Trump, and it was the one that hated Trump, I think, the least that won.
You can think whatever you want about Donald Trump. One thing that is undeniable, despite what you idiot Trump derangement syndrome haters think, he is not stupid. He doesn't say anything for no good reason. And when he says it's a very split, what was the exact words right here? Very mixed signal.
Very mixed signal because it's almost even, which makes it very complicated for the country. It's a pretty tight race.
It's pretty even for the country, which makes it a very tight race. There were some people out there on the right, conservatives, suggesting that the reason why Trump was supporting Carney at any point, pretending to whatever, was because he wants to facilitate and make things go faster, accelerate the destruction and the breakup of Canada. And by supporting a strong liberal win, which it looks like we're going to have right now, I don't care any of the numbers you give me about the conservatives. Elizabeth May from the Green Party has announced that she's joining Carney's cabinet. I think they're going to pick up, if they don't have crossovers from the NDP, at the very least an informal coalition, you're going to end up with a liberal majority. Why is Trump highlighting the divide in Canada? Because he wants a part of Canada, or at the very least, he wants the resources from a part of Canada. And he's going to get those resources one way or the other in terms of opening up the markets to the US from Canada for the benefit of Alberta. Because what he's doing by highlighting the divide is going to force Carney's hand one way or the other. Either Carney opens up Canada's natural resources for easy cross-border trade, or he doesn't. If he does, to the benefit of Alberta. If he doesn't, Alberta is going to move to secede. And so by highlighting the division, the geographic division of Canada right now, it's reminding everybody and playing on the fact that Alberta wants out. And if Carney doesn't satisfy Alberta's demands that Danielle Smith put out there, the Premier of Alberta, Alberta will find a way to get out. I talked about it yesterday. Facilitating and lowering the requirements on citizen petitions for referenda questions, if I pluralize it properly, he's going to get that. So Carney is either going to open it up for the benefit of Alberta, and oddly enough, for the benefit of the rest of Canada, because those resource dollars get equalized and redistributed throughout the have-not provinces, or they're not, and Alberta will secede from Canada and come to its own trade agreements with the US, or come to its own trade agreements with the US, notwithstanding an absence of secession, and just saying, F you, federal government, we are an autonomous province, and we will exploit our own natural resources the way we deem fit. Danielle Smith did something yesterday, which I think is political genius. Here, it's a quick clip. I'll stop it when it's no longer necessary to play it.
When we were talking about looking at the thresholds for both recall and citizen initiative, one of the reasons why we were discussing about changing it is that you want a bar that's high, but you don't want a bar that's impossible to achieve. And we saw with some of the recall initiatives that took place at the municipal level, the bar was impossible to achieve. So we wanted to try to create something that was a little bit more reasonable. And the fact that we haven't seen any citizen-initiated referendum, that also suggested to us that people just thought it was pointless to
Citizen initiative referendum. That means secede. Later on, when she gets asked the question, like the reporter says, look, I don't really think you clarified your position on secession. What is your position on Alberta seceding? And she gets to say, plausibly and probably sincerely, I don't support it, but if enough citizens do, I represent them and I don't dictate to them. And if a citizen citizen petition for referendum comes up and passes the thresholds that we are lowering, well, then I have to entertain the idea, even if I don't support it myself, because I believe that we should be part of a federation. But if a province wants out, a province has the autonomy to get out. That was the essence of what she's saying. It's political genius because it allows her to address the question without her being the initiator of it. And everybody can call her every name under the sun, and she'll get to say, nonetheless, it's democracy, bitches. If you don't like it, leave. Incidentally, if you don't like it, leave. What might also happen out of Canada is, above and beyond natural resource questions, you'll have the exodus of money, you'll have the exodus of brain power, and Donald Trump can say, everyone who loves the Constitution and freedom, come, we'll give you expedited immigration process to America. That's how you get the receiving end of brain drain. That's how you become on the receiving end of the financial drain. And everyone with money and brains who can leave and who wants to be part of true freedom will get the hell out. And to the victor in Canada go the spoils. Congratulations, Liberals. You'll end up like Venezuela in less than 10 years.